Hello, this is Alan Wheeler with a short video introducing my brand new to me, I think it came out in 2003, deck, the Archeon Tarot. And I'll briefly introduce it since it's been around a while and there's a lot of reviews out, I'm sure. And then I want to do a reading for November 30th, which is a special day at certain crossroads for Hecate. So let me take my glasses off here and we'll get started. Now the Archeon Tarot, the name is kind of forged from several sources according to the deck creator, Timothy Lance. And the Archeons were regents in ancient times in Greece who ruled civil affairs benevolently, and our word anarchy comes from times when they were displaced and chaos ruled. Also, the deck designer tells us that the root word arc is similar to archaeology, meaning we have to dig through the symbolic patterns and strange images in the deck to put them together with our intuition to forge meaning. And then eons are emanations from the divine, he tells us. So what arrested me, because I seldom buy new decks and work with what I have usually, but the images were so gripping to me, and they seem to require intuition in the sense of feeling the meaning of the cards rather than decoding as I'm used to in some decks. And you can get that sense. Here's the picture of the High Priestess, but the mood, the images evoke feeling as much as they do communicate a denotation or a dictionary definition or a coded meaning. So I was interested to try out reading these. Here's the Tower, and I don't know if it's kind of dark visibility, but there's a figure almost cowering and hiding her head in her arms. And so rather than having the, and it looks like maybe a building's exploding in the background, but it's less clear the literal meaning of a structure being blown apart than the feelings evoked by this figure, crouching, cowering in the foreground here. Another example of a card here is Strength, and unlike many decks, it's actually a male figure here, but with the familiar lion looming large, but the lion almost looks gentle, even as the Atlas-like figure flexes the muscles. So to me, that I'm getting more feeling of the meaning intuitively. One or two more. Here's the Eight of Wands, and again the figure's just bursting with energy, and you have the feeling of arrows flying energetically rather than literal bolts flying through the air. And similarly, the Herald of Wands expresses that feeling, burning, passion, motivation, and so I'd have to sit with it in the context of a reading. But one more, I can't resist. Here's the Seven of Swords, dark moonlit night. It looks like a crow or raven has acquired something golden hanging from a chain, maybe a watch pocket watch has been stolen here. But the mood's very evocative, and the author says he's been influenced by the symbolist painters. So I'll do a reading here in just a minute. Actually, yesterday I did this and posted it on Instagram. I've pulled a rune and drawn 3 cards. I promised or said that I would try to introduce items from my altar until I started forgetting or running out. And so today I'll introduce some prayer beads or meditation beads that these look like ones I've seen many times in Thailand when I traveled there for a conference each year for teachers. And initially I used this for chanting, or for mantras rather, for Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Namo, Namo, for example. And there's 108 beads, and other goddesses. And then more recently, on connecting with Odin, I would chant Odin's name 108 times. I use them less now that way because I've devised a way to see too much information, but 9 sets of 9, and each set of 9 has 3 sets of 3, and I can kind of see it in my mind, and so I can do it anywhere when I don't have the beads. But they're still here on the altar should I want to use them. Okay, so the reading was just a daily reading, but for a significant day, which is today, November 30th. And I read that this is a traditional day that some witches will put food out at crossroads and pause to remember Hecate. So I thought I would do a draw for myself for November 30th, not even knowing if it's at midnight on the 30th or the night of the 30th, or many details, but just taking the time to honor and remember Hecate. So the rune that I drew was this H-looking symbol, which means Hagalaz or hail. It can mean chaos, which fits in well with pulling the patterns out of the symbolist chaos of the Archeon deck to me. It can also mean challenges, or just like the hail that threatens the crops when it comes down. So we'll let that inform some of the reading here. I drew the Ace of Pentacles, which, if you can't see it, it looks like there's a little fruit from the top view here. Charts or maps, maybe coins, cogs, and sometimes the images are, it gives me the feeling of a passport or some kind of document or blueprint there. Treasure map, astrological chart. So just gives a lot of feeling there, and the colors as well. Then I drew the 4 of Swords, and we can see a figure reclining but pretty alert, with the 3 swords above and a sword down here. There is some nakedness in the deck. I think a good reviewer would warn about that. And then Knight of Wands, looks like a tribes person, almost from some native region holding a spear there, as it feels like to me the light of day is fading, perhaps the sun going down, as the fire in the heart rises for a night adventure, journey into night. So those were the cards. So for me, the Ace of Wands simply signifies some kind of creative project. It could be that I posted an entry in my journal at the Cartomancy Forum today. It could be the making of this video itself. And I think if I have time, I'm going to make another video today about do-it-yourself American runes and creating that system. Could be pictured here, the birthing of something in the realm of earth, in the physical, a work of art or creative project. And then the Four of Swords was the most on target for me, as far as this is a time to stand at the crossroads and pause and seek direction, to reflect on path, but to let all the thoughts of strategy and tactics and things rest a bit at the crossroads. And the challenge of the hail could be the resting from those challenges, coming home, in a sense, from the warfare for a bit. It could be that any artistic project or work comes with thorns and thistles and frustrations and things to overcome, of course. That's a good reminder of that, as well as the H shape just reminds of Hecate, doesn't it? A bit. The last card was the Knight of Wands. And so perhaps as I stand at the crossroads today, I'll hear that call into the night. I'll have to see. This came at the end of the spread, and there he is looking off into the distance. So it may take sitting with this card for today to find out what that means for me. So that's a brief introduction to the Archeon Tarot and a reading with some of those cards. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. As always, I hope you feel connected to friends or family in the real world with online friends and community, as well as feel that connection with the divine in your whatever spiritual path you're on. Take care.